ABC Radio Perth, it's 21 to 4, and time to talk about, well, any parenting issue really that's on your mind as you head into the weekend. What's going on at your place with the kids? Too much screen time? Maybe your child suddenly doesn't want to go to school and you're not really sure of those reasons behind that. Maybe it's an anxiety issue. Anything you like, really. Whatever it is, now's the time to call. Run it past the panel. The number is 1300 222 720 to call through, and the text 0437 922 720. This week, parent educator Claire Orange is here, as she always is. Hi, Claire. Great to have you back.
Hi, Belinda.
And I'd also like you to meet paediatrician Dr. Elizabeth Green. She's written a book. It's called Parenting is Forever, a paediatrician's tips for parents, teachers and carers. Hi, Elizabeth. Great to have you in.
Thank you, Belinda.
So call through with any challenge you might be having right now at home and see if you can walk away this afternoon with a little bit of help, some guidance, a few tips on how to handle it. 1300 222 720 to call through. Elizabeth, Parenting is Forever sounds daunting when I saw that title. Why did you choose that title?
Well, it's transgenerational, so everyone you speak with looks after a child. They don't have to be a parent here and now. It can be a grandparent, proxy parent, neighbour, friend, anyone who prioritises childhood. So it's forever.
And in the title as well, it's for parents, the teachers and the carers. Why was it important to include, those other groups, I guess, rather than just the parents?
Well, parenting is a broad issue, and I wanted to empower the whole group of people who look after children, so not just parents but teachers, early child educators and health carers. And I felt by doing the book I was able to provide some knowledge from the background as a paediatrician and a parent that would allow a broad understanding of raising children, from thinking about a child, raising a child, right through from 0 to 25 years, and dealing with complexity, or really reassure parents about things that they can need to look after. So the child with ADHD, autism, learning disorders, and the comorbidities that make parenting hard, so anxiety, eating disorders, depression, self-harm, but to also realise that childhood is normal. So normal children with some complexity that affects parents, teachers and health carers.
Yeah, well, it makes perfect sense, isn't it? Because they are exposed to those different groups on a pretty much a daily basis. So to get a few tips across the board of all those people involved in raising a healthy child is great. You know what I loved about it when I had a flick through, and it was great because I turned to the contents, and with children, I've got 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. Mm-hmm. So I went immediately to the 10 to 15 years, and I went through the list of contents, and it was like tick, 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 like puberty. What else did I see there? Busy families, I think it was called, hectic families, something like that. And I thought, yeah. And you can just flick to that specific situation that you're dealing with right now and get a little bit of help along the way.
Well, I was hoping to break childhood down because I think it's overwhelming, and one thing I want parents out there is not to be scared to parent, to enjoy their children. So childhood is mostly normal. I think, Belinda, you're in the hardest time, 10 to 15. Not to scare you, but it can be quite tricky. But if you've done all your good, solid work and raised resilient children and just been honest with them and done your best, you'll get through those years, and then you can just sort of skate down over the moguls.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think teenagers are easy. No, I don't really. I just make it up.
You're a parenting expert, Claire. I'm just a mum.
Yeah, me too.
17 to 4 on ABC Radio Perth. Talking about any parenting issue you might be going through at the moment. This is a great chance to ring through and run it past the panel. In the studio, Claire Orange, parent educator, and we've got a special guest in the studio today, Dr. Elizabeth Green. She's a paediatrician. She's just got a book out. It's called Parenting is Forever, a paediatrician's tips for parents, teachers and carers. So if you've got a question, this is the best thing to do. If I can just quickly find it. Here it is.
Be part of the conversation. Call 1300 222 720.
Leon from Banksia Grove has called through. What's the situation at your place, Leon?
Good afternoon, ladies. We've got a beautiful 6 years old son, and He's doing awesome in his school, and he's been complimented that he has got a deep sense of understanding and his vocabulary is good. He's an avid reader. The only one thing which has been common since his kindy, pre-primary, and now in year one, is that his teacher always notices that he doesn't finish his tasks. Like, he always goes into his own fairy world and daydreaming and kind of thing, and he always needs constant prompting to finish his tasks. Even simple tasks like having his morning cereal. So he'll have 2 spoons and then he'll wander around and think about something, and then we call him back, and then he'll have a few spoons, and then he's. So, we are just kind of a bit worried that he does all his other things very nicely and, does everything very, he's right up there, but only finishing his task, like writing. So he can speak 15 sentences about his experience of half an hour, but if you ask him to write about it, then, he takes ages to, finish that task. So we are just kind of worried.
Thank you for that, Leon. Elizabeth?
Well, I think it's great that you're worried because that means you care. He sounds like a wonderful 6-year-old, and the fact that he is coping at school and doing some lovely things, there's no panic, there's no rush. There are some conditions that are medical and that can cause children to have problems with focusing and concentrating and with their time management and even getting their thoughts down onto paper. And you've probably heard about those, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. But he's only 6 years of age, so I'm only going to mention that name so that you can just put it on the fridge and not look at it for a while and just keep doing great parenting. So routine, healthy living, healthy eating, a balance, screen balance, physical activity, just giving him encouragement to have a go. So don't worry just yet. Just acknowledge your child, enjoy him, and if you're worried, just have a chat to your GP. There are lots of really good sort of helpful resources. Desiree Silver and Michelle Toner were our expert people in the area of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. They have a great book called The ADHD Go-To Guide, which you might want to just have a little look at, and that might just give you some ideas as to, does my child have any of those symptoms? You can look at my book, Parenting is Forever, because we're on the same page. I've got lots of suggestions in that same area. What happens when your 6-year-old is not listening, focusing, finishing work? So hopefully that will give you a little bit of a start.
I also think that, some practical things at home. 6-year-old boys are kind of known to be a wee bit scatty. So, you send them off to the bedroom to tidy it, and on the way there they find the piece of Lego lying in the passage, and that's all they do for the next half an hour. They haven't even got to the bedroom yet. So sometimes I used to find with my boys is having the list of things that they needed to do and accomplish, and then even if you laminate that and they tick them off, it kind of gives them the next thing to get on with. And teachers can do that on desks as well, because sometimes sitting at a desk when you're 6 feels like 20 minutes is like 300 hours. So if he knows what he has to do in what order and he can tick them off, it just gives him some purpose. So doing it at home, doing it at school, it's a very practical way to cue children in to the whole demand so that they don't get distracted and off task with behaviour.
12 to 4, ABC Radio Perth, Claire Orange in the studio and Dr. Elizabeth Green, just talking through some of the parenting issues you might be experiencing at your place. The text 0437 922 720. This from Simone. My husband and I have concerns our 3-year-old might have mild autism. How can we tell and what should we do? Elizabeth, what do you suggest?
Autism is a worry for so many parents now, and it's a developmental condition that presents when children have difficulties learning language, using and manipulating it, together with difficulty playing, particularly imaginative play, together with some little unusual quirks, if you like, that sometimes trigger the question, has my child got autism? So things like tiptoe walking, hand flapping, which can be absolutely normal, but if it occurs together with very rigid play, so lining things up, not interested in playing with other children, at 3 years of age, not having language or a lot of words, then you do need to see your local doctor and to discuss that and to get some intervention if that's needed. For 3-year-olds, you should really be saying roughly 200 to 500 plus words at least. It doesn't mean that your child has autism if they're not doing that. Please get their hearing checked first. It's really, really important to make sure that your child can hear, and also a speech pathologist just to have a look and see how your child's going. I think if your child's not talking at 3 years of age, it is important that you get those things done. So speak with your GP. Try not to panic or worry. There are lots of amazing things to do, and just keep playing with your child, looking at them, reading with them, enjoying them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, at 3, you can also get put off by a lot of people when you're a parent worrying about a child, and people can say it's completely normal. My 3-year-old was like that, a bit withdrawn, and I think this is where we have to trust our parent intuition as well, mother's intuition and father's intuition. If you suspect that there's something not quite right with your little person, all those things that Elizabeth was talking about, there's wonderful services out there for parents where to be told that there's nothing wrong and you're worrying without cause, that's pretty good. But leaving it too late and not getting that early intervention, that's a problem. So if you are concerned, be rigorous in what you find for your child.
Elizabeth, what are the unique challenges for parents today? If you look back over the generations, are there sort of unique challenges for parents of today compared to previous generations?
I'm sure there are, but I don't think we should worry about them, because being a parent, there's no absolute prescriptive book to say this is what you should do. So it really depends a little bit on your circumstances. And I suppose I stand from a position of privilege in that, I've been with a very loving family and been able to go into a profession that just gives me so much privilege looking after and caring for children. So every family has their unique challenges, if you like, and positive social demographics do not protect you. Mm-hmm. So I think probably the most unique challenge today across all demographics would be anxiety and the rising mental health of children. And I think that really relates to an anxious, busy digital world. Parenting has changed, and I think that's a unique challenge for all of us as a society, that we just have so many different challenges and complexities of childhood that weren't there in the past before we had the digital divide.
It certainly stands out. I mean, across all families, that screen time, isn't it, Claire? It's managing that screen time on pretty much a daily basis.
Yep, and finding healthy family patterning, and that's something that Elizabeth and I were talking about earlier, is, the earlier you start with your children on that and setting healthy boundaries and guidelines, actually the better off they are, because trying to teach a 14-year-old and tell them how they're going to manage themselves doesn't work. So, parents, the earlier you can get in there and set some healthy boundaries around screen time and accessing the digital world, the healthier your family is going to become. But those are significant concerns in families.
Claire, great to have you in today. We'll catch up again next Friday. And Dr. Elizabeth Green, thank you so much.
Thank you very much
for coming in and being part of the chat this afternoon. Great to meet you. ABC Radio Perth, Claire Orange is a parent educator, and Dr. Elizabeth Green, a paediatrician. Her book, Parenting is Forever, a paediatrician's tips for parents, teachers and carers. ABC Radio Perth, it's 7 to 4.